Alright, so this clip is not really about chopping the trees. In between recording the videos and whatnot, I was listening to this guy that all the brothers were going to, called Bap Aboriginal, Black Aboriginal Knowledge Bap. I started rocking with him because when my brother put me on to him, he was like, "Yo, man, I had just dropped out of college, and when I was at college, I was just into books crazy. Not so much the books that I was told. People were in the library. I was going down to the third and fourth level that people don't go to. Those are books that are assigned at the main level. Those people spend. But when you get into these university libraries like Yale, UConn, when in doubt, Harvard, Princeton, major Ivy Leagues, or little Ivy Leagues, Trinity, College, things like that. These places house a lot of information, tons of it. And something, I just did in my spare time when I did go to the library. I just went down into the lower levels and I started reading the books that were there. Some from the 1800s, some from the 1700s, some from the 1600s. They would have maps, journal entries, various people saying the same thing, coming to the same conclusions, various people. So I say all that to say when I came, my older brother put me on to Bap News. It's on YouTube, of course. Hearing the information he was going over, I'm sitting there, I'm like, bro, tell them they're on the right track. Let them know, yeah, this is stuff that you can find in books that are considered ancient to today. Historical books, journals. Right around while I was in college, this video had came out about how most black people really aren't even from Africa. I mean, if you have 2 cents and you have strong family ties, you would know that's something that people have been speaking about for generations. But when you get your hands on the actual ledgers and the laws on how these African people, majority men, very few amount of children and women were coming over, and you actually count it and then do the math on today, just on the census, you won't get the number of people that's in America today just off of the amount of people that was brought over. So that means immigration would have had to take place and things of that nature. And even then, if you would add in for immigration, you would still be short a couple million people. Here would be a couple million people. So I'm coming across this information. I'm not the type to sit there and say, hey, here's the resources, this, that, and the third. I'm the type to tell you, listen, there's people all over the world saying the same thing. Do the groundwork, go find them, come back to me. Why? Because I don't want you to get in your head that I'm telling you this is for a fact, and then I end up being wrong one day, which humans end up being, and now you got a distasteful stain of memory because, I'm telling you something that may or may not have been true. As far as I know from my research, this is true. Now, I've done a lot of research on my own. They tell you not to do that. Well, the only time people tell you don't do research on your own is usually because they want to control the narrative. If you don't want to control the narrative, then tell people to do the research on their own. They come back, if they're wrong, you'll let them know, you'll show them. Or if they're right, you tell them they're right, or you tell them, hey, you might go on the right track, or you're teaching me something new. Point is, I'm listening to a podcast that Bap did with 3 Milli podcasts, and I started to realize, and they touched on it, we're at a time now where information is becoming more and more prevalent. The access to information is, much more, it puts us in a position of being spoiled. All that said, I'm listening to the conversation. I think he did a great job at piecing together the information and keeping it coherent. See, because throughout the years, we've had people that knew the information, but you're missing pieces of it. Just off the simple fact that you can't link certain pieces of information from all over the world due to the technology we have. We can sit here and say, well, look, this is what they're saying over there, this is what we're saying over here. We're both same thing, and we're hundreds of thousands of miles away. How does that work? And then when you hear people's explanations, when you use common sense and when you've been trained properly on how to use your common sense and your critical thinking, you can sit there and know when somebody's lying you or BSing you. That 3 Milli podcast, very good, very informational. Yes, the truth makes people uncomfortable, but the truth only makes people uncomfortable if you're really living a lie or a delusion. I'm gonna say that again. The truth really only makes people uncomfortable when you're living a lie or living in delusion. If you're trying to live an honorable life and somebody's giving you the truth, if you're trying to live an honest life and somebody's giving you the truth, what's there really to triple? You see it as help, you see it as aid. At that point, you see it as what's the term? I'm critical thinking. Constructive criticism. You know, so all in all, I think it was very great, very great. And throughout the years, to see all this information coming true, coming to the light, per se, for lack of better terminology, the wind is blowing, the ancestors talking. The wind hasn't been blowing all morning, just cold. Wind was blowing now. Well, I guess I'm on point. Like I said, the universe been asking me to talk to the people, just give back information. Very good, very, very, very good. I did lose my train of thought, I'll be honest, but I also want to get to the fact that they asked a very good question. What is it you think we can do moving forward? You know, just as a group of melanated people, and then as a nation of people of all races. They said moving in love and harmony. And I think that's great. But I also want to add into that too. Another thing we can do as a collective, because again, colonization has put all of us in a spot where the snowball is so big, nobody can stop it. We're already here. We're already in this position together. All right. So if we're going to be the United States of America as a nation, well, if we're going to make things better, and we may have an ugly past, we can make our future right. One way to do that is to keep in the forefront of your brain that collectively, as fast forward into the future that we're going, or as fast as we are going into the future, that sounds correct. Things sound better in my head. I'm trying to get it out. I don't really. Anyway, as fast as we go into the future, we have to go equally as fast into our past as well. We have to continue to dig. We have to continue to find and unearth truths that may have been hidden or manipulated. Because that's going to give us a lot of discernment, a lot of discipline on the things we need to prioritize as humanity. Right now, this whole AI thing is a major boom. Like people, we got AI at our fingertips. It's already being used for trading. It's used for schooling. I love school because when I realized people were cheating off the AI, I'm like, dang, these gonna be the future doctors. I mean, I'm literally sitting in lecture halls and in seminars with people that are now nurses and doctors, and I know for a fact they didn't study. I know. I'm not saying all of them, but I can assume if this is how things have already been going and this is the norm, and people already know this, come on, and then actually working in certain environments and being with people that don't know what they're doing, and you see majority of the jobs we do, you only really need to learn on the job. You don't really need school for it. It's a waste. So, you know, there's things of that nature. The point is, with the whole AI thing, it causes for more discernment. It causes for more discipline, because now we can take collective information that we have gathered all over the internet. I mean, all over the world, place it into the internet that everybody can have access to on an instant. But AI is not organic. It's in the name, artificial intelligence. What's organic about humans is the fact that we have a safety parameter to say, listen, at some point, this may harm others. Now, we also have the ability to override it, but at least we're able to ask that question. Artificial intelligence cannot do that. So, with that said, if we can figure out a way to slow things down and match the speed and the rate at which the truth is coming out and people's acceptance of hearing the truth and getting through our own cognitive dissonance and ourselves from prior habits and behaviors that we thought were right and we were misled in condition to believe were right, it would then help aid us on what direction we really need to head in. I honestly think AI can be a great thing if done properly, because with AI, that then alleviates us from having to do some of the basic steps we may not need. Now, with that said, we end up taking the risk on not learning the basics because the basics have already been done for you. However, it would still then be prudent to say, listen, this is why school is necessary, things that agree. How, we're at a time where we can revise a whole lot. And I mean do away with a whole lot. But we also should be keeping a lot of things. There's a whole lot of discernment that we need. And that's why I said with love and harmony, not just with each other, but within the universe, within nature, within the animals, insects, and plants, because we're all living creatures on the same planet that we are in. We still have to abide by the planet's rules, no matter how creative we get. And then even if we get to a point where we can stop earthquakes, we still can't stop solar flares, we still can't stop meteors or comets that have their way, regardless of how many more loads we load in theory and try to dissipate and minimize the size. If something too big, let's just say the size of Jupiter, starts coming our way, if we didn't know it till the last second, there's nothing we can do. And it's not to put people in fear, but it's to put things in proper perspective. We know there are suns that dwarf our own solar system. I'll say that again. We know, due to our technology, we know that there are suns in the universe that dwarf our solar system. As far out as Pluto spins around the sun, there are suns that dwarf that entire perimeter diameter, however you want to chop it up, excuse me for my lack of terminology. There's a hawk up there. But yeah, I just wanted to add that in. I think that was a great podcast. The information's coming out. We're at an age and day and time where mainstream media is learning that it's no longer mainstream. I also want to add this in too. We're at a day and time where the energies and the behaviors of what was are fighting to get their last hoorah. So almost like for those in my age group and for those that are elder, imagine a bank robbery. You have the whole setup, the planning, you have the reconnaissance, you're getting all your information. That's been the last 1,000, 2,000, maybe even 5,000 years. We're at a point in time now, due to the technology that we have, to see what's true on an instant, to see how people behave on an instant, that the moment that alarm you have goes off, that the police comes, those bank robbers have to make a decision. Are we going to say we're going to get out of Dodge early and leave with what we came with? Or are we going to go to the final seconds and fight the police? Right now, metaphysically speaking, this technology is the police of the lies and deceit and poor behaviors, murders, genocides, and, poor ideologies that have been taking reign, metaphysically speaking, over the planet. As physical as we are, the metaphysical is just as important. Remember, we only see at most 1%. That is law for humans. At most 1%. So there's 99% of things that's going on. I'm standing in the sun right now. What comes with the sun that we do not see? Ultraviolet radiation. That's just one example. You go to a hospital, break a leg, there are certain forms of radiation that you can use to see your bones. You cannot see my bones, and it's what would be imperfectly perfect flesh being structured. The only bones you can see on me are my teeth. So, like I said, we're at a great time right now. This is an inflection point. The inflection point might have happened, and we're already seeing the transition. We can turn ourselves into a golden age. We really can. If we do it right. If we don't, well, hey, choices, consequences. It's law. It's Newton's law, right? I like to keep things simple. Cliche too. People don't like cliches, but it's only because cliches keep you from making the simple things too complex. I'm pretty sure you want to. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. I don't know about you. I'll post this later. I got some work to do. I'm almost at my success point.